Welcome back to another video, guys, and today we're going to check out a list of 8 culture shocks that we experienced as a New Zealand family traveling through small town America.
That's right, we recently went on our 3rd trip to the USA, and we have been through, I feel like, enough small towns now to get like a full handle on small town America. And you guys were right. It really does seem like it's the beating heart of America.
Number 1, the unknown. That's right. We've found that small towns are just all about the adventure, all about the unknown. So when you go to a big city in America, like whether it's New York City or LA, you kind of know the things, the tourist traps and all the sightseeing things that you have to do there. But when you get to a small town, you really don't know what you're in for.
That's right. Like driving into a small town, there's no roadmap for that. You don't know what you're going to see. There's no like preconceived ideas, and they're all so different. They are amazing, and you just never know what you're going to see, what kind of little cutesy town, amazing scenery, and they're usually just one strip long, just one drive down the main center.
Exactly.
And they're so cute.
And then we went to Frankenmuth in Michigan, and when we got there, they had the biggest Christmas store in the world.
Yes.
That was insane. They had an amazing ice skating rink, like horse and carriage, like the whole thing was just fully done up for Christmas, like an amazing chicken dinner. You know, there's just all these little things that you don't really see until you get there, like, you know, little chocolate shops.
And they're not even advertised. It's like, you know that you go to New York City and you do certain things at Christmas. But when you go to a small town, it's like, it's not widely known what there is to do. Each time you go, it's like a little nugget of something cool that you never expected.
You don't know what you're going to get.
All right, next up, it almost goes without saying, but it is friendliness. And we were told this so many times from our subscribers leading up to our small town visitations.
Yep.
And they were so right. Everyone is so friendly in small towns. I mean, in America in general, friendly everywhere. But I feel like it was like an unhurried friendliness. Like you really could delve into a full conversation with someone because the pace of life there is so much slower.
Yep.
They have more time to chat. And it's like you could really go deep with some stories, you know, swapping in a small town.
Absolutely. Like I've said many times on this channel, having a 30-second elevator ride with an American is like catching up with your old best mate. And I feel like that in the small towns, you're basically creating best friends as you're speaking with them.
Yeah.
Because you just get to find out so much more about them. You pull up to like a restaurant or something like that, and they've just got all the time in the world to just sit there and have a chat. Nobody's in a rush. And yeah, you just end up getting much more like deeper conversations with people, and it feels more open.
It does. And even like your server will come to your table, stand and have a great chat, ask you about your trip, where you're from. You know, you can just like, they're unhurried. They're not just like dropping the food and leaving. It's like everyone's got time for each other.
Yeah, there were many places, small towns in America where we got to stop and have a good long chat with people. So it was really awesome meeting you guys. Number 3, gambling. That's right. So we obviously saw some gambling when we went to places like Las Vegas and like a couple of other places, but we didn't really notice it too much until we really got out into the small towns. And that's also where you'd find some of the reservations and where those giant casinos are. And we were even on the way to the Ozarks with Craig and Sherry.
Yeah.
And we pulled into a gas station. I think it was in Missouri. I'm pretty sure it was like somewhere south Missouri. And we walked in, we got all of our food, and to get to the bathroom, you had to walk out the back. And out the back of the gas station, let me say that again, was a huge room just filled with like pokey machines and all these people just sitting there like, you know, all the lights and sounds and everything going.
Yeah, people were actually using them midday, wherever it was. I feel like the gambling culture in the USA is much stronger than the gambling culture in New Zealand. Like we have gambling here, but I feel like I don't know anyone that gambles regularly.
Yeah.
It's more something that you might do like on a boys' weekend or a...
Yeah, I mean, we only really have a few casinos in the entire country.
Yeah, we do. I feel like, do you remember going to that small town in Colorado that was completely dedicated to gambling? Everything was a gambling store.
Yeah.
And we struggled to find somewhere to eat with the kids.
That's right, up in the mountains.
Yes, because it was all R18.
Yes.
And they had to sneak us through a
separate entrance.
Yeah, into an eatery. But it blew up. That's actually something that blew our minds.
Yeah.
Was the gambling culture, how prolific it is in the USA.
Yeah.
And how much of a pastime it is for just, you know, a lot of people.
Yeah. And also one other really funny thing is that I booked a hotel for us in New Mexico. So this is probably about 40 minutes outside of Santa Fe. And we turned up to the hotel and it ended up being a giant casino. And I had no idea. Like literally the hotel was just like a small part of the casino. So we stayed in a casino.
I know. That's wild with the kids.
Yeah.
I feel like it was wild for us. I've never gambled in my life.
Yeah. We just turned up and we were like,
I was like, what's happening?
I feel out of my
Yeah. But I mean,
depth here.
we were like that in Las Vegas as well.
Yeah, true.
Trudging our kids in suitcases through full like gambling.
Straight through
Yeah.
a casino. There's nothing like that here.
Yeah, it's very unusual for us to have that sort of culture here in New Zealand. Cost of living. This one stood out to us a lot. When you are road tripping through America, you really notice the cost of like fuel and food because it all adds up pretty quickly.
Yep.
And it was almost a relief to get to a smaller town and out of a big city because we felt like gas prices were lower. Eating at a diner was much cheaper, like significantly cheaper.
Definitely.
And just the mom and pop stores, the size of the meals, everything seemed to be better value and cheaper. Maybe not like a higher standard of food, but most definitely just felt like more home cooked meals.
More
for
affordable.
a really good price. And food was a lot cheaper.
And of course, there's exceptions to that from state to state. Like sometimes you can go to states where the small towns are actually slightly more expensive, you know, depending on how sort of wealthy that area is, which we also experienced. But for the most part, we found that it was much cheaper and much more affordable in certain other areas. So like, for example, when we went to Whidbey Island in the Puget Sound off the coast of Seattle, we found that a lot of those little boutique stores and stuff like that had very sort of specialty pieces. And, you know, the restaurants are all sort of, you know, very like well done. And it was a very sort of upper, you know, class place.
Yes.
As compared to like other places that we went to. Another thing we found in small towns was the cost of accommodation. So in small towns, obviously you don't get as many choices between like 5-star hotels. So, you know, you get places like the Westin and, you know, the Best City Inn and, you know, all those sort of ones. And, you know,
Quality Inn.
The Quality Inn, yeah, that's the one. You know, you're going to get cheaper prices there. And often, sometimes the experience can be just as good.
I found sometimes in the Quality Inn, you'd get much bigger spaces, like bigger rooms, which for us, having 4 of us and 4 suitcases was key.
Yep.
And often they had a pool inside
Yep.
and the breakfast was included. It was actually incredibly great value.
Very good value.
And that leads us into our next point, which is mom and pop stores.
Yes.
And I do feel like I have to say it like that, mom and pop.
Mum and pop.
Yeah, if we said it in our accent, it's mum and pop. That just
Awkward.
doesn't sound right.
No.
I think Americans, especially when you head out into the small towns, you see these diners and these boutiques and old school stores that have been handed down from generation to generation, and they go back a long way. Do you remember that diner that we went to? And it was literally frozen in time.
Yeah.
Some of the couches were ripped. The food, the menus were the same. And
hardly anything had changed.
she showed us photos of her great-great-grandparents that had started the store.
Yes.
She was still a family member, like literally had gone through the family. So from child to child to child, and they were still running it. And she was part of that.
Yeah.
And she was proud of it. And they have it like, they have pictures framed and hung on the wall. They have a story to tell. And it was intriguing to be a part of that. And I feel like Americans truly value those traditions and keeping these stores alive.
They really have a story behind them. They have a story to tell.
They do. And I feel like it's not just small town. Like this is one of those ones that does cross over to a big city. Do you remember we went to New York City?
The pizza places and
there
stuff.
There were those pizzerias that had been there for generations.
Yeah, a long time.
It's a special feeling.
Yeah.
When you actually walk into a store that's got that kind of history.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a special feeling. And if you make a purchase, you just know where your dollar's going.
Yep.
I feel like that's special.
You can find those places in the big city, but I feel like it's far more common to find them in the smaller towns. And, you know, those big corporations and stuff like that, they all sort of look, taste, and feel the same. You know, you're going to get a Big Mac at McDonald's and it's going to taste exactly the same as the McDonald's in the next town over. Whereas you go to a mom and pop shop, they've had that recipe, you know, probably handed down from grandma for like, you know, the last 50, 60 years. And it's going to taste different to the next mom and pop shop just down the block.
Totally. And they have clientele that know it. Like they know these people
regulars.
by name. They're regulars. They're like, oh, you've got to go and get this or you've got to go and try that. And it's a family recipe.
Yep.
It feels special. And I think Americans truly value where they put their dollar as well.
Yes.
Like you do read here in the media of big upsets with certain large companies, and Americans will straight away say, that's it, we're not buying from that anymore. Like, we're done.
Yep.
And they value where they put their money.
Yeah, they speak with their dollar.
They do. And I feel like that's why these mom and pop stores have gone from generation to generation because they are valued by Americans.
It's the regulars coming in who know them by name, who've been going for like, you know, probably multiple decades themselves. They're the ones who are keeping them open.
It's pretty special.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Time machine. Now, often when you go through big cities in America, you can find some awesome older buildings that, take you back to the old times. But when you go to these small towns, it's really apparent that nothing has been modernized.
It's almost like whole streets have been frozen in time. It's like you drive through, if you put it in your mind that you were in a certain era, you really could believe it. It's like everything has been maintained but not modernized. And it is actually the most incredible experience to go to these small towns. And a lot of them are from different eras. Like some of them are from the settlers.
Yeah. Old wooden shacks and everything. And
some of them are from later in time, but it is fascinating to drive through these small towns.
Yeah, it really is. Do you remember just outside the Oz Museum in Kansas?
Yes.
And so there was that little, where that museum was, and you drive down that street and they had it all decorated for Christmas with all the wreaths and everything and lights wrapped around and the whole main street. And this isn't the first time, even the one that you're talking about earlier about how we couldn't find a place to eat with the kids in that casino town.
Yes.
It just literally, like, nothing has been changed.
We could have been like in a Western movie.
Yeah, the lettering on the door is all still the same.
Everything was the same.
It's all still brick. There's no skyscrapers to be seen.
No.
It's everything. Literally, businesses are still just in the original buildings.
Just frozen in time.
Oh, man, it's so awesome. That's when you really feel like you're in a movie. Like you're on a movie set that's been designed to take you back.
Yes, but it's actually just people's everyday life.
Yeah.
So, that's really unique and it was quite mind-blowing for us to drive through.
Yeah, I feel like the brick and the wood is being replaced with steel and glass.
Yeah, it is.
So it's really cool.
Not as interesting.
It's really cool to be in the throwback era.
It is. Pace of life. This one almost goes without saying, but the pace of life in a small town was so noticeably different to that of any of the big cities. I mean, even the fact that you didn't have to wait in line for anything.
Yes.
You weren't queuing for things. And one thing I noticed about big cities is people queuing all the time. Like everywhere you went, there was like a line for something. And
traffic, a waiting time.
Yeah, traffic and waiting times. But in a small town, you're literally like, you often just the only one in the store. Or if you're not, there's other people just chatting around. Everything is so unhurried. It's slower. It's more personal. And it's nice. It's quaint.
Yeah, it is. And also, like, when we went to a small town on the Oregon coast, we pulled up, it was lunchtime, we went into some, like a diner-style sort of cafe place, and the owner of the place was literally just sitting down on a table, drinking coffee and playing board games with like 3 or 4 other people.
Yeah, so it's like people had come in to grab a coffee, but they all decided to sit down and play a board game, and he gets up from the board game and he's like, what can I get y'all?
Yeah. He's like, what do you need?
Yeah, and then we get coffee and he's like, pull out a board game, sit down, have a game. And this is like, 1 o'clock in the day. And we were like, man, this is the life, eh?
And in the big cities, that would have been rush hour,
Everything's rushed in the big cities. But that slow pace, that friendliness, that connection, that community that they've got.
Yes.
It's intriguing and it's like heartwarming.
It is. And also, do you remember the time that we were in the Ozarks and we wanted to get some lunch? And it would have been maybe like, 1 p.m. and we were driving down the street and we were just like, everything is shut.
Everything closed.
There is nothing open.
I feel like that goes on with the pace of life is like there was no set hours. It was just like, oh, actually, I'm not here this afternoon. Sorry about that.
Yes.
People's work hours are a little bit more, I guess, not strict.
A little more, easygoing.
Yeah,
but
very
also,
easygoing.
I think another thing that we have to mention is how small towns are far more seasonal than big cities.
It did feel like
big
that.
cities are just churning, through the rush hour. Everything's going all year round, no breaks. When you go to the small town, like when we went to the Ozarks and everything was shut, that's because in the winter, everything sort of comes to a grinding halt.
It does. And they're kind of like running on bare minimum.
Yeah, but then everyone comes flooding in the summer and everything's open all the time and there's people buzzing around everywhere.
True.
So that's another thing we found is that they're
visiting in an off season can be tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Folklore. Guys, we're ending it off with folklore, and this is a big one.
This is my favorite one.
This is really spicy.
Yeah.
So there were definitely a few places that we went to, like I remember Astoria in Oregon, and we were chatting to Tanner and Alyssa, our tour guides there, and asking them all about Bigfoot. And they were like, oh yeah, my uncle's seen Bigfoot before. And we were like, what?
It feels like every small town has some sort of a secret, or it feels mysterious in some way. Like there's stories handed down through families and everyone's got one.
Yep.
Like we asked Alyssa and she's like, oh yeah, my uncle, he saw Bigfoot when he was out camping. He's definitely real.
And he swears by it.
Yeah, he swears by it. And I'm like, do you think Bigfoot's real? She's like, wow, I mean.
I've got people that
he saw it, and it's like, then we go out to Santa Fe.
Oh, yes.
and the UFO sightings
yeah,
out there.
Roswell and everything.
Yeah, and they really celebrate this folklore as well. There's
Yeah.
Bigfoot everywhere.
They lean into it.
They lean right into it.
Yeah.
There's UFOs. People have time to discuss it. They're
Yeah.
like talking about stories of people who know people who know people, and it's all like handed down.
Yes,
And it's so mysterious. It's intriguing.
it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that all that sort of stuff gets lost in the busyness of big cities.
Oh, nobody's talking about Bigfoot in the big cities.
No.
Like these small towns, they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff
Yes.
happens. You know
and
what
it's just
I mean?
it's where things can like they can develop. They're handed down, from family to family, and there's stories and everything.
And they grow with each generation, and everyone's got something or
Yeah.
someone that they know.
And there's been some crazy ones, like in Astoria when we were the whole underground city when those people used to get shanghaied.
Yes, and that's actually true. Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of mysterious stories and pasts to some of
Yep.
these small towns.
Both historical and mythical.
Yes.
It's all very well and truly alive in small town America.
It really is, and it's exciting,
It is.
and they really celebrate it. That's what I love too. They lean right into it.
Yeah, they do. So that's it for the video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to check us out on Patreon, there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes videos from all of our trips that we've done over the last 3 years, guys. So we're up to season 3. We've only just started uploading. We're in Oklahoma right now, state 14 out of 50 on our mission to visit all 50 states in America. And I can tell you what, there's going to be plenty of culture shocks to come.
Yeah, and if you want to see the folklore of our own, go to the behind the scenes on Patreon. Heaps over there.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.